Hello everyone, welcome to another new Python tutorial video, and today we're going to solve a new function problem. That is, we have to take an input, a number, and then we have to split that number into these numbers. Let's call it these are some notes, currency notes, and we have to divide this into these values. If we see an example, it is given the value is 151. Now, how we can divide this 151 value? We will start by the highest terms. Like 151 can be divided by, definitely not by 500, so the next term is 100. So we can see by 100 only one time this 151 can be divided, so we have written one note. If we divide it, then we have the remaining is 50. So the 50 can be divided by, sorry, the 51 is the remainder, so the 51 can be divided by 50 by one time, so we have written one note here. And there is the remainder is 1, so we know 1 can be divided by 1. And thus, in these three numbers, or takas, let's say, we can divide the current currency, or we can say the value. So let's see how we can visualize this problem. Now here, we have given 500, then 100, then 50, then 20, then 10, and finally 2, 1. Oops, I made a, there is also a 5 here. Okay. So whatever my input is, we have to divide it, we have to split it into these values. Okay, how can we start this problem? We have to understand the concept, like we have to split the values, right? But how we can start it? So for starting it, let's say we take the number, whatever the number is, we take it as input, and then we take a function, sorry, a list. Let's say we call it money list, and this money list contains the values which are 500, 100, and the rest of the values. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to take a for loop. Why? The for loop will generate the values one by one, these values. So let's take for I in range length of money list. So what we're going to do here, we're going to iterate through this. As a result, the first number I is 500. So let's take the note. What will be the note? Note will be the number I get as input. Let's say I get the input, I define it by n. We're going to do floor division, like we did it in our, if you saw our previous problem, a video where we have did is that we take a number and we divided it into months, years, and days. So this problem is pretty much similar with that problem. So if you haven't checked that video, you can watch that video also. So what we're going to do, we're going to floor division it. Floor division with how? Let's say the first term of the list, that is money list I. What does this indicates? That my first index value, which is 500, will come up here, and we're going to divide this thing. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take the remainder. Let's say if it is 501, obviously there is a one remainder, right? We have to again divide it by something. So we're going to come here and do it. So let's say we take it as the same variable we're going to choose. We're going to keep the same variable n, and what we're going to do, we're going to mod it by what? By the first index or whatever the index it is currently, I, and then we're going to print it. But for printing we're going to check, let's say the value is 151, n equal to 151. So when this value comes here, we definitely know the first index is 500, so 151 is definitely not divisible or by 500. So my node value will be 0. Let's use a different color. My node value will be 0 and my remainder will be 151. But I don't want to print the 0 value. What I want to print? I want to print the values for which I get a desired output. Let's say if we take the example, like we know that we don't want to print the 500. We know that yes, for 500 it is 0, but we don't want to print the 500. We want to print only the values for which I get a value. So I want to print 100. For that, what I have to do is I have to give another condition, that is, if the value of n is not equal to 0, then I will only print it. Then I will print the that value which is money list I and the number of notes that is needed. That is, in this way I can find the value or the index number of the money. Let's say that is, if I take 151, initially 100 comes and the number of time it has needed to divide, that is 1. Let's say if it was 300 and was 300, then my money list will be 100 but the note will be 3 instead of 1. Hope you understand the basic or the pseudocode of this problem. Now let me just write the main code in the VS Code. Now let me just write here, like what we're going to take, we're going to take the input. So num equal to integer, it is input, enter the value. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to define a function. Let's say that function def equal to split function, like this is the name, and we're going to call it again later, that is split, and we're going to pass what value? We're going to pass the value that is we have taken as input. So we come here and we take it the same. Let's say we give here n here. Now we're going to make the what we have learned before. We have to take a list here. So let's take money list equal to whatever values. It was 500, 100, 50, then it was 10, it was 5, it was 2, it was 1, right? Okay, maybe I've skipped 1, that was 20. Any left? I guess not. Done. What are you going to do? We're going to take a for loop for I in range length of money list. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to check the node or the number of times it needs to divide. Not equal to n floor division money list index. Okay, so I'm passing the index, that in that way I can get the value. Now I'm to use the same variable because I'm going to take the rest of the values as remainder. So mod money list I. In this way my remainder is now the current value. So when the for loop will again run, I get the next value. Okay, now I have to check if the value is 0 or not, because if it is 0, if the division or the number of times, like the node value is 0, I don't want to print it. So I'm going to check it if not equal to 0, because if I have to check every value is equal to 0, then I have to give another conditions. So I don't want to give any further more condition. I'm going to take one condition, and that condition will give not equal to 0. Okay, then I'm going to print. Let's give a printing statement, that is -I, comma taka comma, note, comma, notes. Okay, so now if I want to print it, let's say what is printing here. Now I'm going to print the value, let's say, yeah, 151 is a easy one. Okay, I can see that it is 100 showing one time, 50 showing one time, 1 tagger showing one time. Let's say a different value, what it can be. Let's say 1 2 3 4. Yeah, that's a 1 2 3 4. Now I am saying yes. 1500 can be divided by 500 twice, so it's given 2. Then it has 234 as remainder, so I'm going to take 100 note twice. In that way I get 200. Now the 34 is the remainder here, so I can take 20 taka one time, then only 14 is the remainder. Then I take a 10 taka note, then only one time, and I get 4 as remainder. And then I have 2 taka notes, so I take twice of it, and thus I can get all of the values splitting properly. So I hope you understand the code. If you still have any kind of confusions, do comment below or mail me. If you like the video, do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.